But I want to talk about maybe the first time you met Alphonso Davies at the Whitecaps. Was there something special about Alphonso that, I don't know, was unique to you where you felt, wow, this kid's going to be a superstar, and you just felt some type of different kind of presence about Alphonso where you even felt like, oh, I want to write this kid's story?
Yeah, I actually remember the first time I spoke to him
Wow.
very clearly, and I actually start the book that way. So it was 2015 February, and the Whitecaps were Alphonso was still in the academy at the time. He was only 15 years old. He had just turned 15 years old. But every year the Whitecaps went to training camp, like the first team did, the MLS team in Arizona usually. So we were going to Tucson, Arizona. I remember seeing the roster of who's going, and there was Alphonso's name, 15 years old, and he was coming with us along with a few other kind of academy players. So I found that kind of surprising because at that, nowadays you're starting to see more like kind of young kids get integrated, but at that point that was like pretty rare to see a 15-year-old traveling with the MLS team for their training camp. So that kind of caught my eye. And then I remember at the airport, actually, it was pretty funny. So we were in the Vancouver airport on our way to Arizona, and some of the players on the team, like Pamuduka, who's like a veteran player and a big jokester, got Alphonso to wear a kind of a GoPro on his head and just kind of run back and forth in the Vancouver International Airport as we're waiting for our flight. And he kind of just went with it. He was a big smile on his face and kind of just went with it. And then on the airplane, actually, they got him and Alphonso and another rookie to the stewardess kind of scarf, and they got them to serve drinks and stuff just as part of their kind of like initiation. And Alphonso just rolled with it. He wasn't phased. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then on that trip in Arizona is when I spoke to him for the first time, and I kind of got a little sense of his story. And something he said that stuck with me was, where we were living before, like me and my family didn't have an opportunity to be something. And then he just talked about how he was so like motivated and grateful for this opportunity in Canada with the Whitecaps just to kind of become something. So like, yeah, he just said that like very matter of factly at the age of 15, and kind of the first time I ever interviewed him. And I was like, yeah, this kid's pretty, like, he's very mature, down to earth, and seems very motivated. Didn't know he'd be a superstar at that point, but again, definitely piqued my attention.
Is there something that you've noticed about Alphonso in terms of his evolution from when he was at the Whitecaps to where he is now at Bayern, and a lot of people consider him one of the best left backs in the world? Is there anything that you've noticed in that evolution of Alphonso Davies as a human being and a footballer?
For sure. I think he's like, so back then, at least like around, he was always, like, from what I'm told from speaking to people in Edmonton and whatnot, he was always kind of a goofy, vibrant kid, like when you get him in his comfort zone. But, around like the first team in the Whitecaps, like we didn't really see a lot of that because he was just so like, I don't think the way it was described to me from people close to him, like he didn't want to disrespect anyone. Like he just, he knew, like he even said this himself when we spoke once, like as kids, we just go around goofing around. Whereas these players I'm playing with, like they have to think about like their kids and their bills and things like that. So I think he was very like reserved initially in those spaces. But I think as he's matured and grown up, like he's become a lot more comfortable with just to be himself. And, obviously he shows that on TikTok and things like that now. So that's pretty cool to see his evolution there. And at the same time, he still does have like his reserve side. And that's something I kind of get to in the book. Like that's kind of always going to be part of him to a certain extent. So yeah, that's, what I've noticed in terms of evolution as a person. And just as a player, like, yeah, I don't know if people like remember this, but the first couple of years in MLS, like, yeah, you saw the things he did very well, like his, dribbling and taking players on 1v1 and things like that. Like he always kind of wowed people with that. But in his first couple of years, like he didn't score a goal. He only had one assist. Like the final product wasn't there. And then he really took off in 2018, the year the transfer happened. And it was a similar journey at Bayern where like the production wasn't there initially, and then he took off in 2020. So yeah, he's definitely worked on the kind of that final product of picking the right pass out, or when to cross, when to play it short, things like that. So he's definitely evolved in that way too.